banks, IT services, some consumer names, staples in particular, less so on the discretionary side, where they still feel investable. But on the whole, I think it'll be an earnings story, and it'll be interesting to see how that earnings story plays out.
What do you think, what makes the India story super exciting right now?
What makes the India story super exciting in my mind is the sheer growth in GDP, which I think will fuel that next leg of market capitalization. So the great famous investor Warren Buffett distills this idea pretty simply into what he calls, what the world actually now calls the Buffett indicator, which specifically just looks at market capitalization to a country's GDP. And the idea here is pretty simple. Even if you take the current ratio, which is about 1.3 times, so India has a market capitalization in excess of $5 trillion and has a GDP of about 3.8, some participants say 4. If you hold that ratio constant, the sheer amount of GDP that's going to be coming online in India, it will unlock that next leg of market capitalization, which will grow as a consequence of existing companies getting bigger. So, as a country grows from a $4 trillion to say a $10 or $15 trillion economy, you'll need the banking system to provide that credit growth for the company to achieve that next leg of its growth. So banks will get bigger and command greater market capitalization. As India gets richer, Indians will start consuming on a scale that's comparable, maybe not to the West, but to some of the emerging economies that I would say are currently 1 or 2 steps ahead of India. So as we get from a $2,500 per capita GDP country to a $10,000 per capita GDP country, you're just going to see that wave of discretionary spending, which will enable companies in that world to do better. India naturally is a manufacturing heavy, industrials heavy country that has prided itself on its old economy businesses as well. And so, we see some of those names compounding at 20-30% year over year. So that'll be another leg of growth. And so the point is, it feels like a very holistic story. One that is underpinned by real economic activity, and 2, that has a bunch of flows coming into markets to support this new leg of market capitalization.
And to